What's everyone? Welcome back to a video, and today we are doing more of the Doodle Empires series. Let's get into it. We're on episode number 4. Alright. First episode, we saw the Ethiopians be basically crippled. We saw several new countries. We saw the UK be founded. We saw Indonesia be founded. We saw Italy get to Germany. They fought war with Spain. We saw Morocco break away from West Africa and then these guys break away from Morocco. Mozambique is now a power. It's still a power. Madagascar is independent. We have South Africa is independent. The Italians are going to expand. The Italians are going to continue their great war against the Spanish. Spain is going to keep counterattack. Then we'll get you later. And these will have a split. This region will break away. And these guys are part of the contested territory. And these guys are going to start making a name for themselves. Dutch will formally declare their independence. These guys are going to be the people who discovered the Nordics. Italy and Spain are now in a stalemate. They're mostly fighting up here. Look over what a Balkan capital would be, and it would be probably here in Athens. The Dutch capital would be here. The capital for these guys would be here. South Africa, they have their capital of Morocco. Morocco would have theirs probably right here. As for Tangiers, their capital would be roughly here. The Dutch will found our ideology, and what they're going to be founding is our first, I guess you could say, socialists, so to speak. Italy's going to adopt an ideology, and Italy will become a democracy. And Italy's forces will start a free front war. They're going to start war against the Balkans, and they're continuing war against Spain. They will quickly move into the Balkans. They're going to begin making a land invasion against Spain again. These guys will form a coalition to take down Italy. Egypt is going to join, as well as Tangier. Tangier's going to join the Italian side, and Morocco is going to be a huge war breaking out in Europe. Let's go over the coalition. So the Dutch, Spain, the Balkans, and Egypt are all going to fight against Egypt. Italy. Morocco's going to be fighting against Italy as well. Tangier, Egypt, and Anatolia are going to be fighting with Egypt, and then Arabia is going to be fighting against with Italy. This is our war. Somalia is going to be fighting with Italy as well, and then West Africa is going to be fighting against Italy. That's mostly how they can take over. So we're going to mark each coalition. So let's mark them all out. So we have Spain, Balkan, Dutch, the coalition is going to be fighting against Italy. There's going to be one fighting for Italy. These are two coalitions, and the war is going to start out with the Italians are going to start making ground. The Italian plan is quite simple. These guys will officially form the trading. They're going to be our first imperialist country. And Italy is going to begin. Italian forces are going to quickly begin land invasions. The Balkans quickly seizing their capital. Italy is then going to proceed to finish off the Balkans. That's their main goal in this war. Cripple the Balkans, and eventually the Balkans are going to be forced to surrender almost immediately. They're really weak, and the Italians will set up a defensive front. The new plan is push the Dutch, which they are successful in, and now they can start invasions of Spain. So the Balkans are basically out of the war. And just to make things worse, Spain, Balkan, Dutch, Egypt, Anatolian. The Egyptians and the Anatolians are going to work together to deal with the Balkans. Anatolia is going to take over Cyprus. And the Balkans are going to collapse, basically. And there's will then start a land invasion of Arabia. In the meantime, Egypt is going to begin their own naval invasion against the Italian North Africa. Tangier is fighting with Italy, and so they're going to basically end up taking over the Moroccan government, officially forming a Tangier Union. So Morocco is first to leave the war. So Tangier is going to leave the coalition. However, they also want to take over parts of Spain, so that's what they're going to do. So Egypt has a secondary goal. Let's go over Somalia's goal. So their goal is to form a new ideology, and this will become known as Somali. Hold on. start fighting for independence again. And Yemen will quickly join forces with Somalia to kick Arabia out. Them, Egypt, and Somalia will all collectively agree they need to get Arabia out. They need to weaken Arabia. It's too powerful. And so Egypt and Somalia will meet at this fort to sign an armistice. They'll fix up their borders later. For right now, Egypt, Anatolia, Yemen, and Somalia are going to prioritize feeding back the Arabians. So Yemen will start an invasion. They're going to beeline for the capital. Egypt's main goal is to kick the Italians out of Africa. Tangiers' main goal is they want to get rid of Spain. They also want to get rid of Italy. So these are going to be anti-Spain but pro-Egypt. So we'll see how this turns out. Spain has set up a defensive position, preventing Tangier from doing anything. So for right now, Tangier is going to prioritize kicking Italy out. They are going to get all the way up to Tunisia before they're stopped. In the meantime, Egyptian forces, which have adopted new ideologies, are going to stick with their democracy now. They're the founders of democracy. Egyptian forces are going to rapidly begin to take out South Africa. And we have another new nation. And this time, Anatolian forces are successful in getting this area independent. We have the rise of Caucasia. Actually, no. Basically, what happens is the settlers from Arabia, Yemen, India, Anatolia, Balkans, Italy, all these countries, Egypt. These guys are a bunch of refugees who are fleeing. So they all will now get here, and they define the sea, right? It's like this body of water. They're like, this is a good place to settle. To officially form Caspia. These guys' main goal is to just get the Caspian Sea. So what is Anatolia going to do? They're going to start rapidly pushing in against this river, completely cutting Arabia in half. Then going to meet up with the Caspians. Arabia's in a bad position. In the meantime, Egyptian troops are going to rapidly begin to finish off Africa, and these two will sign an agreement to divide Africa between each other. North Africa. Egypt is going to begin land invasions of Italy. They're going to take Crete, and they're going to establish a front line, taking Athens back. And these two will meet in Nabut to make a ceasefire. So Egypt will take over all of this Balkan territory. Basically, they get Greece and Albania, but in exchange, these two will sign peace. Egypt's now main goal is to finish off Arabia. They quickly take over Hijaz, and they officially gotten their goals from this war. And they are going to officially become logistics. They're going to leave the war formally. In the meantime, they're going to help Yemen now. Yemen is going to become a democracy. And then we have another new nation. And this time, the Persians are going to declare independence. Actually, no. For right now, I'm not going to do that. Instead, the French are going to become independent. Actually, that wouldn't make logical sense either. Yeah. Persians are going to declare independence. And oh boy, this is going to be a shock. Persia has formed. And a ton of people are not expecting this. Arabia is now even weaker. Arabia is going to counterattack, however. However, they get a new leader, and this guy is an isolationist. And he will, as a result, withdraw from the war. Formally signing an armistice agreement. We'll see how this ends. In the meantime, an image will be established. And here's just what happens. So, France will officially break away from Spain. This is because the railroad not being attacked, and so we officially have permission of France. And France is going to take over much of this. And these two will meet up. So all these countries, new and old, will officially all meet up. And they all meet in the Mozambican capital of Lake Malawi. They're neutral, so they all will discuss a peace treaty. So let's go over the treaty. And first things first, we get rid of these coalitions. There's no need of them. These are outdated now. We're just going to do a treaty, and we're going to end it because it's a pretty big war. So let's go over what happened. So first off, I'll go over Europe first. The Dutch are officially going to be independent. They're recognized. France is recognized. Italy is allowed to cover all this Balkan land. However, the Air Force has recognized Egyptian control of Greece and Crete. Anatolia gets all of this land, which is a lot. This region is independent for right now. It's like a buffer zone. We're going to handle that later. Balkans. No one knows what's happening. Arabia has signed a ceasefire, and they basically agreed to give up this territory in exchange for not to stay put. So the Arabians. Wait, what? Oh no, what did I do? I don't know what that was. The Arabian Emirate is going to gain this land from Yemen back. This is what they agreed on in the treaty. So Arabia is going to have to keep certain territories. Persia is going to establish a religion, or I guess ideology, and this will become known as Persian law. Let's call it Persian law. I can't think of a good name for it. Okay, good. Persia is going to establish themselves over here. You guys will all meet up. Let's finish up the treaty. So, Republic of Somalia and Egypt sign a ceasefire. They're going to discuss changing up the border in a separate treaty. Italy is going to gain the Balkans, but in exchange, they're going to have to recognize the Dutch and also get to recognize France, as well as the loss of their Italian colonies in Africa, but they gained all this Balkan land. Egypt's going to gain Hejaz, because it's temporary, they're going to give Hejaz independence. They gain much of Africa. They're going to make an agreement with Tangiers to handle this. Spain is now, much weaker. West Africa has gained one thing. That being that they now have a secure border. They basically got several new friends thanks to this war. Somalia is going to be a hand in negotiating over this. The Yemen is now independent for the second time. And that was it. Let me save this.